And hello YouTube, this is Thomas Judge back once again with another YouTube reading guide series. Today is the third of 10 videos walking through the often overlooked and often forgotten DC annual events published throughout the 90s. Today's video is for 1993, which is an event called Bloodlines. Now, to create this overall reading guide, I've read almost 200 comic issues, or I've at least reviewed them, and they comprise the DC annual events. So with no further ado, we're going to jump straight into it. This is 1993. DC annual events called Bloodlines. Now, Bloodlines involves, it's a weird story. Basically, these alien parasites come to Earth and they essentially want to feed on people's spines. It's a little bit like, what, are they zombies? Are they going to eat your brains? Who knows? But they're going to drink your spinal fluids and they go around killing loads and loads of people. However, randomly and bizarrely, their feeding also has activated the meta gene, which is like the superhuman gene, in a number of random people, which leads to a wave of new superpowered people, which the event tries to call the New Bloods. This event feels very weird. It's a very dated event of its time. I mean, even a term like the New Bloods is like, it feels like a very 90s branding thing. And the idea of parasitic aliens sucking up people's spinal fluids, it does make me feel that to some extent this was kind of a ripple or an after shock from the Alien movies coming out and being so popular at this time. But hey, that's all speculation on my part. Let's just jump into it. So the event itself can be considered to exist in four discrete phases. The first phase was called the Outbreak phase. So Bloodlines Outbreak consists of the following annuals. It starts off with Lobo Annual 1. We then have Man of Steel Annual 2. We then have Shadow of the Bat Annual 1. We then have Flash Annual 6. New Titans Annual 9. Superman Annual 5. Green Lantern Annual 2. Batman Annual 17. And JLI, or Justice League International, Annual 4. So that's the first phase of Bloodlines, and that's the order to read those issues in. That is the Outbreak phase. The next phase, which are then branded as EARTHPLAGUE, comprises the following issues. We have Robin, Annual 2. Action Comics, Annual 5. Legion of Superheroes, Annual 4. Green Arrow, Annual 6. Detective Comics, Annual 6. Justice League of America, Annual 7. Adventures of Superman, Annual 5. And Hawkman, Annual 1. And those issues comprise the EARTHPLAGUE branded phase. That's the second phase of Bloodline. Now let's move to the third phase of the Bloodlines event, which is branded DEATHSTORM. So DEATHSTORM has the following issues. Deathstroke, Annual 2. Eclipso, Annual 1. The Demon, Annual 2. Batman, Legends of the Dark Knight, Annual 3. Team Titans Annual 1. I will just stress here, don't get confused by thinking this is Teen Titans, as in Teenage Titans. This is Team Titans, as in T-E-A-M Titans. I'd never even heard of this series until I started looking into this, so that's a new one on me. But Team Titans Annual 1, and then subsequently Legion Annual 4. The fourth and final phase of the Bloodlines event was Bloodlines Bloodbath, which was a simple 2-issue series, Bloodbath Issue 1 and Bloodbath Issue 2. You can see here that DC Fandom and the website there lists the Bloodlines event as shown here. Just while that's up on the screen, I'm just going to point out, in terms of the story, which is a bit weird, it turns out that the spinal fluids harvested by these parasites were being used to birth this kind of like uber parasite monster. And the New Bloods, who are the new superheroes that survived and had their powers activated by these parasites, were instrumental in defeating this new super monster. As a result of that, this was kind of used as a way to spin off a whole bunch of new series and new characters. I think this is the way that DC tried to reinvigorate and revitalize their line with a whole new crop and generation of heroes. It didn't work very well at all, because the heroes that spun out of it are as follows. They had a series called BLOODBATH, which is a whole series of new bloods put together, a series called Anima, a series called Argus, a series called Gunfire, which sounds very 90s to me, a series called Loose Cannon, a series called Cyber Rats. God knows what that's about. Showcase 94, which kind of trickled on for a while and is more of an anthology series, I think. But by far the most successful spin off of this is Hitman, written by Garth Ennis. In fact, most people forget that Hitman as a character came out of this event, and that Hitman's powers as a character came out of this event. He was activated by an alien parasite. I don't think I'm going to cover Hitman in my series or anything like this. I read Hitman, and if you're a fan of Garth Ennis, you'll like Hitman, but it's not for me. The rest of these characters all basically died a death relatively quickly in terms of the series publishing success and so on and so forth. One thing that would be remiss of me to leave out would be that as part of the New 52, which is a reboot of DC's continuity that happened between 2011 and 2016, the Bloodlines crossover was revisited and revamped as a 6-issue miniseries. If you want to know more about this, I've actually published a 31 video guide to the New 52, going through all 3,500 issues there in exhaustive detail. But in a nutshell, it's what I consider to be one of the out of continuity series in the New 52. So it's in one of my very, very last videos for that reading order. What I recall from it, something like a meteor crashes on Earth and it brings an alien that essentially kills some people, but then activates superpowers in others. It was just a 6-issue closed miniseries. From what I recall, the art was really good, as you can see from these covers, but the story was utterly forgettable. And basically, it's something that I consider to be sort of non-canon. So check it out if you're interested, but don't if you're not. All right, these videos are being surprisingly short, which is quite nice and a bit of a change for me. So until next time, when we'll be jumping into 1994, stay classy. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. As always, please follow me on Twitter at I am Thomas Judge, where I will post a daily review of whatever comics I've been reading. You can get an idea of what I'm up to on the channel. And as always, please support the channel by heading over to Amazon.com and checking out my prose novel about superheroes. It's a completely original piece of work. The first episode in it is called Arrivals, and the series as a whole is called No Gods or Kings. You can find an excerpt of that on my website, nogodsorkings.com. Until next time, everybody, stay classy.